If you care about the quiet intelligence behind frontier survival rather than romantic myths, stay with me for a minute. Before we go further, subscribe to Iron Age Instincts and share this with someone who values real historical skill over spectacle. What you're about to hear isn't about bloodlust or brute force. It's about restraint, patience, and an older ethical code of hunting that left almost nothing behind. Frontier trappers operated under constant pressure. Hostile weather, scarce ammunition, long supply gaps, and the need to harvest animals without advertising their presence. Firearms were loud, tracks were dangerous, and waste could mean starvation. What they developed instead were trap systems that blended into the land so completely that even trained eyes struggled to find them. These methods weren't crude. They were refined through generations of failure, observation, and adaptation. If you understand these systems, you begin to understand how people truly lived off wild country without dominating it. This script focuses on how frontier trappers captured animals quietly and cleanly while minimizing signs of human presence. These techniques mattered because stealth was survival. A disturbed trail could invite competition, retaliation, or worse. A snapped branch or displaced stone told a story to anyone who knew how to read it. Why frontier trappers valued invisibility over efficiency above all else? Trappers didn't measure success by how fast an animal was taken, but by how little the landscape changed afterward. An untouched setting protected trap lines from theft and kept animals moving naturally. It also prevented educating prey. Once animals associated a location with danger, they altered routes permanently. Stealth traps allowed trappers to work the same ground for years. This principle can still be applied today by studying animal travel corridors rather than forcing new ones. A modern woodsman practicing historical methods would begin by observing where animals already move, never where it's convenient to stand. Deadfall traps were engineered to look accidental, not constructed. The deadfall was a masterclass in subtle engineering. It relied on gravity, balance, and weight rather than tension or noise. Frontier versions used stones or logs already present on site, repositioned so slightly they appeared naturally fallen. The trigger mechanisms were carved from local wood and matched surrounding textures. A trapper would often assemble the deadfall in stages over several days, allowing wildlife to acclimate to the shifting elements. To apply this today, one would first select a natural choke point, then slowly introduce changes while leaving human scent to dissipate between visits. Snares were placed where animals committed themselves, not where they hesitated. A well-set snare was invisible because it aligned with the animal's own momentum. Trappers chose narrow game runs, fence crossings, or den exits where animals could not stop or turn once entering. Materials were stripped from local plants, twisted into cordage, or made from softened rawhide. Metal wire, when available, was dulled with ash or mud to eliminate shine and smell. The lesson here is placement over force. A snare placed carelessly educates animals. One placed correctly ends the encounter instantly, often without a struggle. Spring pole traps reduced ground disturbance and erased evidence. Spring poles lifted captured animals off the ground, preventing scavenger interference and minimizing blood or drag marks. These traps used young saplings bent and anchored with natural pegs rather than cut stakes. When triggered, the system returned nearly to its original position after release. A trapper dismantling a line could restore the area within minutes. Practicing this method requires learning local tree flexibility and fibre strength. It rewards those who understand plant behaviour as well as animal behaviour. Frontier trappers, masked their scent using the environment around them, and it wasn't just some old superstition. Scent control wasn't ritualistic, it was practical, really. Trappers would handle trap components with their bare hands so that human oils would weather naturally over time. They'd rub wood with soil, crushed leaves, or animal fat that was already present in the area. Water crossings were often used to enter and exit trap lines, which helped break up any scent trails. So, to apply this today, you should think less about eliminating scent altogether and more about blending it into the existing smellscape. Resetting traps without leaving a story behind, well, that was a learned discipline. Experienced trappers move slowly, only stepping on stones, roots, or hardened ground. They'd avoid straight paths and never approach their traps from the same direction twice. If the soil was disturbed, it was brushed over with branches that matched the surrounding vegetation. This mindset, it really applies to any movement through the wilderness. The land, you see, remembers careless footsteps, but it forgets those who move with intent. Why do these methods still matter, even beyond survival scenarios? Well, these trapping systems, they teach a deeper lesson about restraint and awareness. They show how humans once interacted with ecosystems as participants, not just disruptors. Even if you never set a trap, studying these methods sharpens your observation skills and deepens your respect for the intelligence of the landscape. Modern survivalists and historians alike, they benefit from understanding how minimal force can produce reliable outcomes. Frontier trappers, they weren't primitive at all. They were precise, Their traps left no trace because they were designed to disappear, not to dominate. So, if this sort of grounded historical knowledge matters to you, go ahead and subscribe to Iron Age Instincts. Share this with fellow historians and survivalists, and let's keep these skills alive by understanding them properly, rather than just romanticizing them.